Hi everybody, welcome back. In today's video we are doing a full review on the Iwata HP SB Plus. Hi everybody, welcome back to another Iwata review, and in today's video we are doing the side feed, and it is the Iwata HP SB Plus. This is a 0.2mm airbrush. I've owned this airbrush now probably four to 5 years, this one. I had the Micron before this, and then this was a Christmas present. The wife went, "What do you want for Christmas?" I went, "Oh, I'll have an airbrush." And I picked this one because it's 0.2, so that's a bit of a more all-rounder, not so much just a detail brush, because you've got the 0.2 needle set up. You can get a little bit more paint down with it, thicker paints with it. So I opted for this. I've done numerous projects with this brush, portraits. I've used it for automotive, doing pieces on tanks and things like that. It's been absolutely fine. In the 4 years that I've had it, I've not changed a thing on it. These are a side cut airbrush, and they are a double action again. So it's basically like yesterday's review with the Eclipse. Very similar looking to the Eclipse. You've got your side cut. On this you've got your adjuster on the back for your trigger response on there. 0.2. You can put your cup either side, take the pin out, you can put your cup that side. Really nice finish on these. All the Iwatas are really nice. The box that you get when you get one of these, it's weird because you go, the range of the Iwata, the boxes get better as they get better. So I think you're paying for a box as well, because when you get the Micron, it's in this fancy red box. These come in a thicker cardboard box. You get your super lube, you get your spanner. So that's how these ones will turn up, guys. The Eclipse turns up in like a plasticky cardboard box, and then your Micron turns up in a box that you could throw out of an aeroplane, and I think it'd still survive. But I reckon you're just paying for the box. You don't need these fancy boxes. You really don't. You want the brush, that's the main thing. So I'll move on. We'll give this a spray test. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm not going to paint palm trees. I've got two circles, so we're going to do a shading test on transparent. We're going to do a shading test on opaque. We'll do a dot test from small dot right up to big dot in transparent and opaque. I'll do a little bit of line work, and I'll do a little bit of coverage on both paints. We will do the air pressure at 22 psi for both paints, and then we'll have a little chat after we've done that. So I'll see you in the next step. Right guys, I've got the bins on today so I can see a little bit clearer, because I was getting a bit of glare on that. So we've just hooked the air line up, 22 psi, and we've got a little bit of transparent shading grey. This is an old bottle, so it might be a little bit grainy. I'm going to take the cap off to the tip dry. Right, we'll start off with some little dots to make sure that's nice and clean. So just going from the real small and they're the sort of dots you get same as the Micron. You get right down with this brush. You can go real small, and then you can work your way up. This is really thin. I've just dropped a couple of drops of water in that, so it's really thin. So it's probably just slightly breaking up on there because it's really thin. But that's the sort of a dot work you can get, and then when you start to pull back and move back with the brush, that's the sort of scale of paint you'll get from small dot right the way up. We'll do some line work. And yeah, really super fine, accurate brush. atomises really well. All the Iwatas I find atomise the paint really nice. So you can get some real super fine detail with this, guys. And then just do some bigger lines. So it's got no problem, just like the other brushes, with transparent. And you can get the same sort of lines down as I did with the Eclipse, but this feels a little bit more accurate than the Eclipse in trigger response. The spring seems softer, more comfortable. It just feels, you know, it's that next model up from the Eclipse, say. It's like the next, I mean, price wise, I think these are about 240. And you can tell the difference in your hand. You can tell the smoothness of it with the setup of this. But they're the sort of lines you're getting. Real fine. Tiny little lines, guys. I'll move on to the shading and we'll see how this shades when you're like backing it off. So you've got a little circle and it shades really, really nice, guys. You can get a real soft shade with this. And that's what's nice with working with transparents. It's like working with candies. You can just keep building the layers up. It just gets darker and darker. But a really nice brush. Trigger's really nice. We'll move down to like doing the same shading on this smaller dot. That's probably the size of a penny, that circle there. So you're just doing the same thing and you can get real soft on that. You've only got to touch the triggers on these Iwatas and you know exactly when the paint's coming out. There's no delay. You get some of these cheap brushes and it feels like you're pulling the trigger back 4mm before you even get any paint out. But these, they're like instant. We'll do a little bit of a coverage on here. And it can get your paint down nice and easy. Nice coverage. This is transparent, so I'm not going like full. If I keep going over and over this, it'll really start to black that paper out. But you can get a nice coverage with that. So that's the transparent, guys. Absolutely fine. Atomises really, really well. Not a problem at all. Comfortable brush in your hand. You have no dramas sitting with this in your hand for 4 to 5 hours, nice and comfy. You don't get much needle exposure on these, so I really would recommend your toothbrush method for cleaning, because pinching that, you really you've not got a lot to pinch on that to give it a clean. So I just get your 2 toothbrushes, quick rub up and down like I just did, and job done. Right, we'll drop some opaque in. And we'll do the dot test again. Nice, atomising the same. So you can go right down, a little bit of spider webbing on that one. But you can get right down with this, and then you've got your full open back trigger. So you're looking at a dot about that size. Lines again, drop them here. Yeah, really nice. Atomises it nice. Probably could do with this being 22 psi. I'd probably go for 1 drop of water in this, and that will flow even better. Drop of water. We'll go for the shading on this one. And it's just so nice with these triggers. You're literally just fraction moving back, and you know that paint's there. And it's not an uncomfortable movement, guys. It's like I say, some of these cheaper brushes, you're moving that trigger sort of far back to get your paint. This is literally just a fraction, a little wiggle on that trigger, and that paint's coming out, which is really nice. Gives you that bit of confidence when you're going in, like I say, if you're doing portraits, things like that, where you're right up close and you've just got to, you just tap that trigger, it's there, that paint's there, it's so comfortable, it's hardly, there's no movement whatsoever, and you're getting paint out. It's really nice, really accurate. So a very, very good brush, guys. I would highly recommend one of these. It just feels nice to pick this one back up, because I've got a few brushes and I tend to, I'm picking the Creos up a lot now and I'm jumping straight onto that. But it's so nice to pick one of the old brushes back up, and I'm so glad I've done a review on this, because I'm going to get back into this brush because it's a cracking brush. It really is. It's really nice. It's nice to pick it back up and give it another blast. So it atomises the opaque lovely, and I've dropped a drop of water in that opaque. I mean, this opaque here it's right near the bottom of the bottle, so really could be doing with filtering that out, so it might be a little bit grainy. That's why it came out a little bit grainy on some of these. But I'm due to put an order in for some new paint. But yeah, you won't go wrong with one of these guys. And at the price tag of, I think they're about $240, you might be getting cheaper. Well worth the money all day long. Just on that responsiveness on the triggers. You've got your 0.2, so you get a nice bit of coverage, as you'll see. It'll get the paint down if you need to fill a background area in. Easy to clean. You can just grab the front, bubble back, blast through with your cleaner, nice and easy. Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick this brush up some more now and do some more work with this. So you'll see this more used in the up and coming videos. But that's the Iwata HP SB Plus, the 0.2 side feed. I'd say that feels as responsive as the Micron, and you'll get the same details down and the same coverage with the Micron. The Micron's the next one up and the next price tag up, but cracking brush, really is. Really would recommend it, guys. I'm glad I've got one, because it's just another great brush for the airbrush arsenal to have in your collection. I'm going to use this one a lot more. It's been sitting on the shelf for so long because I've got the Griot's range now. I'm jumping straight onto the Griot's because they're cracking brushes, and for the price tag that the Griot's come out at, you'd be silly not to pick one up. I mean, there's not a lot of new brushes on the market. Everyone's waiting for these new Iwatas that are coming out, and me personally, they've revamped I think it's the Eclipse they've revamped, and another one, and when you look at it, they've put it under a different name, and to me, if you look at that brush, I think all they've changed on it is the trigger. I reckon it's going to be no different, absolutely no different. You will get the same lines, dots. I mean, how much more responsive can they make a trigger when you're moving these things back under a millimetre? It's fractions, and these are good enough. If it's not broke, don't fix it. These things work spot on, absolutely spot on. Yeah, you can revamp it and put a new trigger on it, or people lower the triggers and put softer springs, but you know, they've been around for years, they work. Job done. You've got your flagship, which is the Micron in the range. So the new stuff that's coming out, you've got your Harder and Steenbeck, your Infinitec, I've got one. The Micron, I've got one. The Griot's. So I'd say 3 brands there that I've not tried. Badger. I've got Pasha is it? I've got single action ones and things like that. I'll do some reviews on them. I've got another up and coming video on an old classic, the Airbrush Super 63, and that is a cracking brush. I started off with this brush when I first started, and these response on these are phenomenal. They're an amazing brush. They are very temperamental. You can't go blasting thinners through them and things like that, because they're all like they're not like Teflon washers and things in these. These are the old rubber, things like that, and you'll just perish them. But if you look after them right and just use your water-based cleaners through them, outstanding brush. Old school, proper airbrush. And then I've got one of the old single action. These were great. I know it's a single action, but if you want to get some paint down, you put your jar on the bottom. They work lovely. So yeah, I've got an array of brushes from old to new. I brought the new, because I was a Harder and Steenbeck fan, not so much now, not after the experience I had with one. I've got the Solo, the Evolution Solo. This is the one that's got the air adjust there. This thing's battered, absolutely battered. Even inside the cup, it's all like worn away. That's what I found with Harder and Steenbeck. You use thinners with them and it just rips the plating. This still works, but it rips the plating out of them. And I had the first generation Infinity, and thinners ripped the plating off that, and then they came out with the CR Plus, which was a better coating, I think, on the bodies, and this body's been fine, but I don't pick it up anymore. I really don't. Everyone raves about these things. Yeah, I started off on that, which was the solo, which was the Evolution. I started out with the Focus, which was a really nice brush, and then went up to that. I've had 2 or 3 of these. Yes, these are good. Everyone raves about them, but this won't even come apart. It's that, just don't use it. You get like your little Teflon, but them pieces, they're like a brass, and they can get damaged so easy. I've changed so many of them. Needles, yeah, I've gone through needles in them. They're a good brush, but what put me off Harder and Steenbeck was when they brought out the quarter paint. I thought, oh, that's nice, I'll get that. So I ordered one, and they're an aluminium body, and what drew my eye to that was they've done a left and right handed trigger, so it's sloped that way, and I thought, oh, that's nice. So I ordered one. They were £212. It came in a really nice box. They're all black, they look really nice, and they're basically an infinity. That's all they are, with a different trigger. I think they've got a different taper on the needles. So I got it out of the box, and your front end on these, this is a bit gunked up because I don't use it. On these you'll take that cap off there, and then you can unscrew that one. So this turned up, and when I get an airbrush and get it out of the box, I'll always give it a blast through water first. Have a look at it, and with these, you know how these, if you own an Infinity, these unscrew so easy. You take your caps off, you can strip these down in seconds, these things, they're dead easy. So it gets this quarter paint, goes to take the front end off, and the thing had been wound in that tight, you couldn't grip it to take the front end off, and that's an aluminium body. So in my eyes, you're going stainless, you're going a harder steel into aluminium, which is a big no-no, because if you cross thread that in any way, it's just going to tear that aluminium body up. So I couldn't get that off for starters, and I didn't even want to put clamps around it to get it off. It had been wound in that tight. I dropped water in it, tried a spray test, and it was just bubbling up, and I thought, if that's that tight into there and that's bubbling back, no, it's going back. So I sent it back to the company that I got it from. Took me 3 months to get my money back, and it took me messaging Harder and Steenbeck directly to get onto the company that they supplied the brushes to get my money back. And that put me instantly off Harder and Steenbeck, and I've never picked this brush up since. And it just sits on the side. Don't use it, because there's better brushes out there. That's my bitch and moan about Harder and Steenbeck. I do like the brushes. I've owned, like I say, I've owned 3 Infinities, and I've owned a Focus, also owned and got the Evolution, which is a cracking brush. Yes, the Infinity is a great brush, because that's where I started out on Harder and Steenbeck. But after the quarter paint, no, gone off them. I'd like to try the Grapho, but then you get the 0.15 Grapho, and it's like, you might as well buy an Infinity, because it's an Infinity at the end of the day with that needle setup. So yeah, that's my moan about Harder and Steenbeck. So the brush that we've reviewed today, guys, I would highly recommend. It's the Iwata HP SB Plus. It works. I've had it 4 years. It's not let me down. Cracking brush. So that's the end of this review, guys. I hope you got something out of it. Leave your comments below, as you just heard me bitch about Harder and Steenbeck. So yeah, I will see you lot in the next one. Don't forget, like, share, and if you're new to my channel, guys, click that subscribe so you don't miss out on any up and coming videos on Dred Custom Paint. We're going to do the review on the next one is the CMSB, the custom micron, the flagship of the Iwata range. So that's the next one, guys, we're going to do the review on. And then after that, I'm going to do you a review on a Studio Series SmartJet Plus compressor by Iwata. I've now owned this a couple of months. I've get this some hammer, so I can give you a little review on that. I'll chuck different brushes through. I'll put the PS290 through that because that's a bigger spray. Needs a little bit more air, and we'll see what that. I know it works with that because I've tried it. So that'll be an up and coming review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you lot in the next one.